Hello guys, and welcome to Matt's Beamer. Today I will do my first ever in-depth tour of a Mercedes on my channel. The car in this video is a 2002 Mercedes Benz E200 in the elegance trim based on the W210 chassis. And I want to say a big thank you to my friend Leo Chakalis for lending me his car. He has just started selling exotic plants as known as the birds of paradise in Cyprus. I'll add down the links below. The W210 replaced the legend known as the W124 back in 1995. They continued to make the W210 up till 2003, which was then replaced by the W211. This E-Class was made to take on its main rival, the BMW 5 Series. It also had to deal with the Jaguar S-Type and the Audi A6. The W210 was released just before the BMW E39, and the press seemed to love it up until later that year, when BMW released its 5 Series, which was known as the E39, which all the car manufacturers struggled to beat. When the E-Class was revealed to the world, they were shocked to see how different it was to the older generation of Mercedes, especially with its 4 circle round lights, which were also used on the first generation CLK. Alongside the W210 was the S210, which was the estate variant of the E-Class, which in my opinion looked better than the saloon, especially with the AMG kit. The W210 was a very popular car, mainly loved by taxi drivers, especially in Cyprus, where you will also see the limousine version. I've never seen so many of them in my life. It's such a shame that Mercedes dropped down quality controls over those few years. These Mercs were mainly known for their rust issues, due to the introduction of their water-based paint, plus the cheaper metals used. Anyway, let's have a look around this car. This car is finished in the lovely tanzanite metallic blue, which looks great against the elegance trim. The elegance trim sits above the classic trim and has more chrome and wood and a better standard kit. Anyway, let's start with the bonnet. Sitting proudly on the end of the bonnet is the famous Mercedes-Benz 3-pointed star. Though in some of the previous shot, the star looks a bit pissed, as if someone had tried to pull it off. This badge is spring-loaded for health and safety issues. Moving on down, we have the facelifted grille, which looks better than the previous version, even though the average person will not know the difference. One thing, that stands out on the front of this car is the headlight design. Not only was it the new face for future Mercedes-Benz, it was the first Benz production car to have xenon lights, though this car here had the standard halogen bulbs. The front bumpers are also a part of the facelift. They meet their headlights while the previous one had a panel instead. Some cars have headlamp washers between the lights. Elegance trim cars have chrome touches to the exterior, as you can see. Down at the bottom of each corner are the car's front fog lights. I love how the bonnet lines follow the contour of the headlights, a bit like the old Jaguars. Here's the bonnet vent. The W210 has a single windscreen wiper, which then became a craze on the modern scene. The windscreen washers are hidden down here to help improve aerodynamics. While we are here, there's a sensor on the back of the rear view mirror, which is the ambient light sensor, one of the 2 sensors needed to help the dimming mirror work. Let's head around to the side of the car. The wheels on this big cruiser are the 16-inch aluminium alloys, finished in the standard silver, which are wrapped in the 215/55 R16 tyres. The front suspension is independent with double wishbones, coil springs and anti-roll bars. This car also has ABS and the front discs are vented. The mirrors on this car are electronically controlled with auto tint and also have reverse tilt. As this car is the facelifted model, it has the indicators built into the wing mirrors. The windows on the elegance models are tinted green, as shown, while the avant-garde models are tinted blue. The door handles in this car have chrome strips, as it's the elegance model. The little black square is the infrared sensor. Some cars have a little button here for the keyless entry. Heading on down, we have the elegance badge with the side strips. They are a tint lighter in colour and also have a chrome strip too. The plastic side skirts have little covers which hide the jacking points. As you can see, some are missing. I prefer this style of jacking up the car in emergency. The ground clearance is around about 16 centimeters, a length of 481.8 centimeters and a width of 179.8 centimeters. To open the fuel flap door, just press in the edge which is nearest to the rear door. The door will then open. It's recommended that this car uses at least 95 octane petrol. The tyre pressure chart is also located here too. This car does around about 23 miles per gallon around town and on a cruise about 35. Don't forget this car has a supercharger, it's automatic and weighs just under 1.5 tonne. The wheels on the back of this car are the same size as the front ones. The rear brakes are discs and the rear suspension is made up of helical springs. Heading around to the back, we have the third brake light. Along the top edge of the boot, you will see all the chrome badges, including the compressor badge, which shows it has the mechanical supercharger. This car also has the facelifted rear taillights, which are simple in design. Under the rear number plate is the boot key slot. If you press it in, the boot will pop open. You can also open the boot by pressing this boot button on the key as shown. The rear bumper also has rear parking sensors, which are incorporated into the blue and chrome elegance strip. Now, let's have a look inside the car. This is the key, a standard Mercedes key, which was cut and edge back in the day. Lock, unlock, and the boot release. If you hold down the unlock button, it will roll down the windows. To roll them back up, just hold down lock. When you open up this car, you are welcomed by leather effect seats and burr walnut trim. The Pacific fabric in this car is 455A fabric elegance quartz. Apparently, it's a very high quality alternative to leather, which also wears better and is easier to maintain, and it also saves a few extra cowls. The W210 has a safety restraint system for the seatbelts, dual front airbags, door mounted airbags and side curtain airbags. Starting from the top left of the dashboard, we have a colour-coded beige speaker grille and an air vent to clear the side window. Moving to the right, we have the passenger airbag. Running in line of the windscreen is the air vent for the windscreen. In between these vents is a sun sensor, which can increase fan speed and influences the temperature control. Just below the wooden trim are the car's central air vents. The wheel opens and closes the vents, and the chrome accented knob controls the airflow direction. Just below the vents is another bit of wood trim. This one folds down the 3 rear headrests and makes it easier to see out the rear window. You need to manually reset them, which is a pain in the arse. The central button is the hazard switch. The button on the right is the central locking button. Moving on down, we have the basic aircon system. Higher models have a digital display and is quite complex compared to this one. The two wheels each side control the temperature for each front passenger. The left rotary wheel controls the 5-speed fan. The top button out of these three is the rear heated window button. The middle one, labelled EC, is basically the economy button. When it's lit up, it turns off the air conditioning. The rest button basically keeps the interior warm by letting heat into the cabin from the engine bay while the engine is turned off. The car needs to have been running for a while for this feature to work. This rotary knob right here controls where you would like the air to flow in the cabin. Basically, zone control. Here is the Becker BE 3100 radio cassette player. Top left is the cassette eject button. The knob on the left hand side controls the volume and turns the radio on and off. BC is the radio scanning button. Left and right are the radio's station search buttons. Bottom left is where the musical notes are, which allow you to adjust the sound quality. The mute button. Up and down searches the frequency and other audio sources. The cassette tape slot. The visual display. CC is the code button. RDM means random and puts the song in the shuffled order. RDS selects either the fixed VHF mode or the radio data system mode. CD is for activating the 6CD changer, but this one is buggered. Anyway, let's move on. Down below is more wood trim. Just press this part in and you will get a material aligned storage space. Press it back in to close. The next one down is the ashtray. Just push it down lightly to open and close. The switch inside allows you to take the ashtray in and out to allow you to clean it or throw away the ash. Moving on down reveals more switches. The top left button turns on and off the ESP. ESP stands for Electronic Stability Control. This car has 4 electric windows, hence why there are 4 electric window switches. They are a 2-stage button. Press lightly to fine-tune your desired position. If you press harder, the window will fully open or close. In between the 2 switches on the left is a switch that cuts the power to the rear. On the opposite side is the airbag light. If the airbag is switched off, the light will turn on to warn you. This car has a 5-speed automatic gearbox, which was used on many vehicles. This gearbox also has touch shift. When you put the car into drive, you can tap left and right to change the gears up and down. It rivaled BMW's Steptronic system. The beeping noise in reverse is the car's reverse parking sensors going off. You could also change the way the car reacted to the acceleration by pressing the W/S switch. W is for winter mode. S gives the gearbox a sportier feel. Over the winter mode, you can pull away from first and you can rev higher in the rev range. Though I believe S means standard. Moving on back a bit, we have the boot release button. Next to that, we have the electric mirror adjustment control. The black switch is missing on this one, but it still works. The 2 buttons either side allow you to choose which mirror you want to adjust. Moving on back, we have another wooden cover. This one basically is another storage compartment. You can see that equalizer was involved in Mercedes Benz back then. The centre armrest is for both passengers in the front, and it also acted as, you guessed it, another storage compartment, which is quite lucky really, as the door pockets in this car are super thin and you would struggle even getting a bag of sweets in that space. Over to the instrument cluster. On the very far left you will see 2 arrows. They adjust the brightness of the dash. R resets the trip computer on some car. The gauge on the left hand side is the coolant temperature gauge. Next to that you have the fuel gauge. Between these 2 gauges is the exterior temperature display. The speedo is located in the center of the cluster. The rev counter is on the right hand side, with a small display showing you which gear you're in and the time. Under this speedo is the car's onboard computer, which is controlled with the buttons on the left hand side of the steering wheel. This is also part of the facelifted models. Currently it's showing the radio station, now the mileage and trip computer, when the service is due, the current speed, trip stats, fuel and range. Also you can reset the car's units like language, miles per hour to kilometers. This computer can do more, but I'm just trying to make this video shorter. It will also tell you that the car may have. The power assisted steering on this car is the old school fluid type system with the rack and pinion setup. The wheel is wrapped in fake leather. You can see that the extreme Cyprus heat has helped damage the wheel. It's cheap and easy to fix though. The buttons on the left hand side are for controlling the car's onboard computer. The car's stereo volume buttons are located on the right hand side of the steering wheel, along with the telephone functions. Sadly, this car has no telephone. In the centre of the wheel is the car's airbag and horn. Unfortunately, I lost the sound clip for the horn. Just behind the wheel, you have the Mercedes style cruise control stick with the descriptions written all over it. The stalk below controls the lights, the wipers and indicators. I personally would prefer the wiper controls on a different stalk. To the right hand side of the driver's instrument cluster, we have the other dash speaker and air vent, which works like all the other vents in this car. Down below we have the main light control system. Turn the knob to the left and you will turn on the parking lights. If you turn the knob fully to the right and pull out once, you will get the rear fog lights. Pull it out again to get the front fog lights. The scroll wheel on the left hand side allows you to change the angle of the light on the road. The car's ignition slot. The big black bar with the P on it is the car's handbrake. You pull this to release the handbrake, and to reapply the handbrake, you need to use the foot brake by pressing down this little pedal here. Mercedes Benz seems to love this style of handbrake, and BMW had a go with this style handbrake in their E38 series. Next to the door mirror is the car's tweeter. Up on the door we have the electronic controls for the driver's comfort. This funny looking switch here allows you to adjust the height and reach of the steering wheel electronically. The other buttons allow you to adjust the headrest, the incline, and can move the main seat forward and back, as well as up and down. The buttons 1 to 3 are the 3 memory settings. The green button allows you to save your desired setting. The door handles on this car are chrome plated, and the doors have side airbags built into them. The door has a speaker built into it, and the door pockets are very thin. All doors on this car have a reflector and a puddle light to help you see in the dark. One thing I like is the door shuts having the Mercedes Benz name to remind you that you're entering a Benz. The passenger side obviously has less things to play with than the driver's side. The rear view mirror with auto dimming. The glove box on this car is lockable. It's not the biggest one in the world, but it's far from being the smallest. The glove box can also light up. It also has 2 shallow cup holders, not ideal for when you're on the move. The passenger seat has the same adjustment as the driver's seat, including the memory seat settings. Up here we have the interior lighting switches for different areas of the car, including map reading lights. The sun visors on this car have a vanity mirror and lights. As you will see in parts of the video, the roof lining is sagging. The soft closing door handles also feature a hook for allowing you to hang up your suit. Side curtain airbags, and some more sagginess. Now, let's have a look in the back of the car. There isn't much to do here in the back, as with most older cars, but it's very comfortable. On the door, you have a single window switch, a chrome-coated door handle, wood and leather effect trim. Moving on down, there's an ashtray, which you don't seem to see these days. The door pockets are very small, you can't stick much in it at all. There's a speaker located near the bottom, and as with all the other doors, there is a puddle light and reflector. On the back of the front seats is the storage pouch, ideal for keeping your magazines. In the centre of the rear is the air vent system, which has all the usual controls. This big plastic panel down here feels very cheap and nasty. This car has a centre armrest. Fold it down and you will find 2 cup holders. Pull that tray out one more time and you will find the first aid kit, though this one is actually missing, so it's an ideal storage location. The legroom and headroom on this car are great, apart from the sagginess of the roof lining, rubbing on my balding head. On the rear parcel shelf are more speakers for the sound system. Above the rear window is the car's rear interior lighting. Let's have a look in the boot. Up on the boot lid is where the warning triangle should be. It's quite a nice sized boot, having a volume of 520 litres, which was bigger than the 5 Series equivalent back then. Each side of the boot is more storage. On the left hand side is where the CD changer is, though this one is a bit damaged. Under the boot floor is a spare wheel, along with toolkit and jack. It's great to see a full size wheel again. Under the bonnet. To open the bonnet on this car, you need to pull the red lever under the driver's area. It may be different on left-hand drive cars, I'm not sure. When the bonnet is open, you will see a tag. Pull it to help open the bonnet even more. The range of engines was quite big on this car, starting with the baby E200, which was a small inline 4, going up to the big brute, the AMG E60, which had 399 horsepower, 6.2 V8. Diesels were also popular in the E-Class, varying from the 2 litre up to the 3.2. This car here is a very early 2002 car, so it had the 2 litre M111 supercharged inline 4, which was made from cast iron. Its longitudinal mounted supercharged engine sent its 161 horsepower and 230 Nm of torque to its rear wheels, allowing the car to do 0 to 60 in under 9.5 seconds, and this car has a top speed of around about 138 miles per hour, which surprised me, to be honest. Let's start it up and see how she sounds. Thank you so much for watching my video. I will be making some more in-depth videos soon, along with some short overview videos of some classic cars, and most likely some other DIY videos featuring my BMW F21 series. If this interests you, please like, share and subscribe. I would be most grateful. Have a great day. Take care.